A few weeks ago, the channel Simply Unlucky, who I'm sure you all have heard of because he's literally the biggest YouTuber out there, he posted this really cool video actually where he made custom Toon monsters. And the reasons that I thought this was really cool is it looks like they did spend a lot of time not only on the effects of the card and trying to make them as balanced and flavorful as possible, but also they commissioned an artist to draw these artworks for these 5 cards. And that's really awesome. That's sort of stuff you don't really see as far as custom cards go. A lot of times you just see people putting like generic pictures that they found on the internet. So I thought that this video was excellent and I enjoyed it a lot. I'll put a link in the description if you haven't seen it. Fantastic video, and listening to Simply Unlucky sort of talk about the reasoning behind these effects is really cool. So highly recommend watching the video. And in today's video, I thought it would be kind of fun to look at these 5 cards and analyzing them from a competitive standpoint. When they're designing these cards, as Simply Unlucky says in the video, they're more trying to get the flavor of the card, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to look at how close the card comes to actually being competitive. Toons as a deck archetype aren't that competitive. They were considered a rogue deck for a little while when they first got that new wave of support with Toon Kingdom and stuff, but since then haven't been that good. However, they have gotten some pretty good support just by itself, like Toon Dark Magician and Toon Red Eyes are really good. But yeah, so I thought it'd just be kind of fun to go through here, and this is one of the artworks you can see. But what we can do here is we can kind of go through, and like I said, please watch the video. It's a great analysis of talking about why he thinks that this is like the way to put these cards, and I thought I'd just kind of review them from my side, which is competitive. So first we have Toon Gaia the Fierce Knight. It's a warrior Toon effect. This card can be normal summoned without tribute while you control Toon World. Cannot attack the turn it's normal summon. If this monster attacks a defense position monster, does piercing damage. If a Toon monster is selected as an attack target by an opponent's monster, you can remove from play this card from your side of the field, negate the attack of the monster, and destroy it. So kind of like a Sakuratsu Armor / Cypher Lord Omega type effect, because if this card is removed from by its own effect, special summon it during your next standby phase. So as far as this goes, I don't think this card is that competitive. A Sakuratsu Armor effect isn't that valuable. It's also worth noting many of the Toon monsters don't really care about being destroyed too much. You can summon them for free pretty much, and also your Toon Kingdom protects your Toon monsters from being destroyed. So this thing actually kind of has almost negative synergy with Toon Kingdom. I mean, yes, it will destroy your opponent's monster when they attack, but just in general, your opponent is the only reason they're attacking when you have Toon Kingdom up is to make you banish cards from top of your deck. So believe that Toon Kingdom, you have to banish like 1 card to protect the monster. So this card, not super competitive. However, I will say this is probably the only one of these cards that I didn't think was that good, which is really interesting. But as far as like the flavor goes, yeah, it makes sense for Gaia to do piercing damage. As far as the banishing effect, I don't really know if that makes sense lore-wise, but it's interesting. The next card was Toon Harpie Sisters, and this one's really cool. So, well, that's hello, Simply Unlucky. So Wing Beast Toon effect, it's level 6. This card can be normal summon without tribute while you control Toon World, so they're kind of going with that theme, and I think that's cool. I would have liked to see on many of these cards, same thing with the Gaia, just let it special summon itself. Toons already aren't that good of a deck, so just letting them have some good effects would be neat. But this card's really good. So can attack the turn is summon. When this card is special summoned, destroy spawn trap cards on your opponent's side of the field up to the number of Toon cards you control. That's really good. Obviously, you don't get the effect when you just normal summon it, but there are a variety of ways to special summon Toon monsters, and that's really cool. It's sort of like this Stratos effect. You can do a whole bunch of stuff. Almost always you'll be getting a straight +2 if you have Toon Kingdom and this card face up, because it does count itself, and it doesn't have to be differently named cards. That effect is awesome, and I think that's all that card does. Yeah, that's all that card does. But as far as competitive, like how competitive is this card? Very competitive. I think that this would be a staple card in a Toon strategy. Once again, just like the Gaia though, I wish that it special summon itself. Maybe with this effect, if it could special summon itself, you would have to make it so that it doesn't trigger off of itself being on the board to destroy back row, but overall, pretty solid card. Next up, we have Toon Legendary Fisherman. Really like the artwork on this one. So you can special summon this card from your hand while you control Toon World. Fantastic addition. Like I said, that's the addition that I wanted on those previous 2 cards. That makes this card so much better, and I'm really glad that they put that on there. Cannot attack the turn it's summoned, which is unfortunate because its attacking effect is pretty good. While you control Toon World, which is very similar to how this card works when you control Umi, this card can attack your opponent's life points directly, is unaffected by opponent's spell cards, and cannot be targeted for attacks, but it does not prevent your opponent from attacking directly. So this card's cool. Like, the only real complaint that I have about this card is that it can't attack the turn it's summoned. Does that keep this card from being competitive in a Toon deck if you were to build one with this? I don't think it does. There are actually a variety of cards that increase the attack of Toon monsters that would work very well with this. This thing is extremely well protected. It is unaffected by your opponent's spell cards, which means that it still is protected by Toon Kingdom, which is fantastic. So basically you would summon this, or 2 possibly, because it's not like once per turn or anything, which might be an issue depending, but I think it's fine for a deck like Toons to have sort of crazy combos. But you could just special summon a couple of these, or even just 1, and then on next turn just attack your opponent directly for a lot of damage, especially if you have any attack boosting effects, seeing this thing doesn't just count its original attack like a card like Sonic Shooter. So this card, I would say, very much like the Harpie Sisters, is extremely competitive if it was released for a Toon strategy. On the next one, I do have to do something a little different because he didn't put the full card text here. So this is Toon Relinquished. You guys will definitely not be able to read that. I've already read the effect. So this card can only be special summoned from your hand by sending 1 Toon monster from the field or hand to the graveyard while you control Toon World. So it's kind of like a ritual summon. Obviously, it'd be way too confusing to make an actual Toon ritual monster. So I can see why they did that. They gave it sort of the summon condition. You can only control 1 Toon Relinquish at a time. Cannot attack the turn it is normal summon. While you control Toon World and your opponent controls no Toon monsters, this card can attack your opponent's life points directly. As you can see, though, it has a lot more text. Unfortunately, they didn't put it on this video as far as like this big text box. So let me try to. I'll just read it out loud for you guys. It has a couple different effects that are worth mentioning. So it can attack directly. Once per turn, you can target 1 a monster your opponent controls. Equip the target to this card, so you can only have 1. This card gains the stats of whatever you equip. So just exactly like the original Relinquished, that kind of stuff, which is really good. And then this card or Toon World would be destroyed. Destroy the equipped monster instead, so it not only protects itself, but also the equipped monster. And then lastly, while equipped with that monster, any battle damage you take from battles involving this card inflicts equal effect damage to your opponent. Really solid stuff here. They have to hit this card multiple times, and the first time that they hit this card, they will actually be taking the same amount of damage. As far as competitive validity, this card's pretty good. I would say that the big downside of this card is that it's not a quick effect. I know that's not really this card's fault. It is based on the original Relinquish. The problem is that Relinquished isn't a very good card, and this thing, while it does have some bonus protection effects for on top of the just normal Relinquish effect, I don't think that those actually make up for the fact that this is basically just Toon Relinquished without any huge upside to playing it, versus like just playing a normal Relinquish. Most of the effects are the same, unlike Harpie Sisters where the effect is sort of upgraded. I don't think this card would be played as more like than a one of. Obviously, when you think of Toon cards, you have to keep in mind that they can all be searched because you have Toon Table of Contents. So basically, anytime that you play a one of, like Toon Relinquished, you're basically playing 4 copies of it. Anyway, though, so the last card that we're looking at here is Toon Exodia, and this is by far, just spoiler alert once this comes up here, by far the most competitive card in this video. This card's crazy. It's basically like a Clifford Towers for Toon. So let's jump right into it because it has a lot of text. Cannot be summoned except by its own effect. While having Toon World on your side of the field, you can send all cards in your hand and side of the field to the graveyard except Toon World to special summon this card from your hand. So you're losing a lot of cards. I will say that one thing that's to note about this card, obviously the summon can't be negated, which is really cool. This is the type of effect that when Konami makes these sort of summoning conditions where you're sending cards to the grave, they usually require a minimum number. This card, you would only have to, with the way it's written right now, because it is the cost, you would have to send at least 1 from your hand inside of the field. I think bumping that up to 2 copies on your hand and your side of the field would make it a lot more fair, and I think you'll agree when you see how crazy this card's effects are. So this card gains 1,000 attack and defense along with the following effects for each unique Toon monster in your graveyard. Now it does have to be unique, so they have to be differently named cards, well, Toon cards, so not just monsters. So if you have 2 or more, which is extremely likely, this card cannot be destroyed by battle. That's pretty good. 4 or more, you're looking at a 4,000 attack monster that can't be destroyed by battle and is unaffected by card effects. So basically a better version of Radioraptor Ultimate Falcon, or like all those cards. 6 or more, once per turn, quick effect, remove and play 1 Toon card in your graveyard, negate the activation and effect of an opponent's card and destroy it. Now, one thing to note about that is you will get 2 activations out of that because you have 6 or more. Well, I guess you'll have just the 1 activation, then you go down to 5, but if you put any more in your graveyard, it doesn't just have to always be 6 or more. As long as you replace the cards that you're banishing, you can then gain that 6 or more effect, which is crazy. And then 8 or more, at the end of your turn, return a Toon card from the graveyard to, what does it even tell us? To your hand. Already, I mean, there's like more effects, but already it's like way overpowered, like just so overpowered, it's crazy. 10 or more, which probably won't happen. Remove and play 10 unique Toon cards in your graveyard and Toon World on your side of the field. You win the duel. That last effect, I think that'd be difficult to pull off, even though, keep in mind, the crazy part about all of these effects, 10 and 8 and 6, is that while you have that many Toons in your grave, you also have the 4 effect, which makes it unaffected by card effects, which means you can't negate this card like stuff like Solemn Strike. Obviously, this has the same problem as all those sort of tower cards where you can just use a kaiju on it. However, this card is so off the chain, incredibly powerful, that it doesn't really matter. I think very likely this would just be I summon this card and win the game a lot of the times. Maybe not with the actual win the game 10 Toon effect. However, I just think it's very likely with just how good this card is. If you didn't have an out to this the very first turn that it comes out, I think you're just going to lose the game immediately. By far the best card in this entire video. Anyway though, that is going to wrap up today's video. Like I said, make sure to go check out Somebody Unlucky's video. There'll be a link in the description. Not that I really have to give him a shout out. These cards are very well designed in terms of the flavor, in terms of the effects, in terms of the artwork. This is the type of stuff that I wish more people did with custom Yu-Gi-Oh cards. There's like a huge custom Hearthstone cards community, and I think it's really cool. But in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's not really like that. Many of the cards are badly written or badly designed, or they have really terrible artwork. Someone just types in cool dragons on Google and puts it into the artwork. These ones are just like so like a step above everything else I've ever seen. I just had to review them, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and let me know if I was wrong about any of these cards. I don't know all of the Toon support, but I'm pretty familiar with a lot of it, so I don't think I missed anything, but feel free to let me know. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it though. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.